Welcome to this edition of Stogie Geeks. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa. We are here with Joe D. This week we are going to talk about rum pairings. Rum pairings. So beginner and a little bit of intermediate level as to the different rums that are out there and some of the cigars that you can pair with. It's a follow-up to the wine segment that we did a couple episodes ago. Today, a very special birthday to our co-host, Joe D. So happy birthday. We're going to talk about birthday cigars. So if you want to email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com, let us know. I'll check it right before the segment. Let us know what types of cigars you like for your birthday and Stogies of the Week. Stay tuned.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from Villiger North American Studios, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geeks Show. Many of you don't like the Patriots, and quite frankly, those of us on the show today don't really care. Then we're gonna. Joe Hollywood joins us. Welcome, Joe.
How are you?
He's on point.
What's up, boys?
It's definitely a cigar. What's going on? We need that. It's like a classy straw. It's like metal and stuff.
That's a stainless steel straw.
It's already bent. Don't try and bend it anymore because it's metal.
You're so strong, Joe. Bend that straw.
Brought to you by
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa, filling in for Paul. And we have to my right, Joe D. Very happy birthday to Joe D.
Joe, baby, appreciate it. Thank you.
You get a chance to be on Stogie Geeks for your birthday.
Beautiful thing.
In our next segment, when we do the Stogie Geek Ideal, we're going to talk about birthday cigars. And if you're on the Facebook Live feed or if you're on the internet checking us out right now, email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Just let me know right quick what you like to smoke during your birthday. I'll check the email before the segment, and we'll give you some shout-outs and tips. And who knows, maybe you've smoked some stuff that we never had before. I always like to learn. Every day in this industry, we are 100% learning there. It is definitely a journey. The two sticks we are going to be smoking during this, we have the Potagus Heritage Robusto, which we just lit up, and we'll give our quick reviews on that. And then later on, we're going to go with the Hechicera Robusto, which I think is going to pair excellent with what we're going to talk about today.
Pretty excited. Two sticks I haven't smoked yet, so.
Well, I'm trying. I mean, we gotta keep it moving, and then later on we will do the Stogies of the Week. So if you want to wish Joe D a happy birthday, joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Let us know where you're listening from. So town, there you go. If you want your name used, give it to us. If not, we'll say whatever your first name is, and then there you go. Either way. But thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to the Stogie Geeks. Today, we are going to do rum pairings. And this was a brand new bottle. Well, I got to get used to the opposite, right? This was a brand new bottle, but we had to experiment to find out which cigars that we would like and to make sure that the rum that we have is ready for the show. And then remind me to get to this. Right. We have some other samples of rum that are already pre-poured to go, and then we're going to cap this off as well, because I kind of wanted to kind of give a introductory view to some of the rums, but a little history as to the rum that we are going with today. This is distilled by the Newport Distilling Company. They're located in Newport, Rhode Island, so they are local. This rum here is made in Newport. It's relatively new on the market. It's amazing how they came about. They'd make a great interview guest. So after this podcast, we'll send that to them, and we'll definitely do a part 2. And you want to stick around because we'll have some recipes as well that will work with rum.
As the viewers can see, we've already tackled a little bit of that. We already did some sampling pre-show.
Well, yeah. So this is a single barrel rum. Okay. Again, it's made by Thomas II, which is done right here in Newport, Rhode Island, and each barrel spends years aging until it's ready to be filtered, bottled, and labeled. And one of the things that I really like, just like the journey of cigars, when it comes to spirits or wine, I love the handcraft aspect of it. It gives it a chance to slow down. Each one of these here is individually numbered and batched and handled with care right here in Rhode Island. And so we're going to pour some rum here. So actually, why don't you do that while I talk? That'd be probably more efficient, right? This one, the kickoff, we are doing this on the rocks. And the only reason why I'm doing this on the rocks is because we're going to be tasting a couple of different rums here. But if I was all alone or with some friends and just having this as a choice, we'll just switch glasses. Cool. Yep. If I was doing that, I would probably just have this neat. As is. I think it's I think it's going to bring in a lot of good flavors. And one of the things that I noticed, especially with cigars, is when you have a spirit neat, with zero ice, just as is. I mean, it really opens up the palate. So cheers and happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And right off the bat, you should feel it. You should feel it right on the sides of the tongue.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And the reason why you pay attention to that is because I think when you have a cigar in different things, different nuances from your palate and different senses that your palate picks up with cigars are from the different part of the tongue. And so here, you should feel it doubly right on the side. Right? So from a rum perspective and from a spirit perspective, that tells me that automatically you need to go medium cigar. Okay? So just make sure you can feel it on both sides, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like you get a little bit of that tingle. Like,
Yep.
If I'm off my rocker, please correct me.
Oh, you're right there.
Okay.
I don't have much experience with the rum. I'm kind of
that is, to me, that's kind of like a rule 101 there. If you're experimenting with something, especially if you're at a cocktail party over in the summer and you have, you have a fire pit going, they might not have the brand of rum or the brand of scotch or the brand of whatever your spirit likes. So then you got to kind of pick what you want. It's kind of like walking into a cigar shop. That's why I always tell some of the newbies is pay attention to the region of the cigar of what you like. Because then if you're picking out a brand name that you don't know, you at least know that you like either a Nicaraguan or a Dominican or whatever.
Yeah, depending on given mood, and that's half the fun too. You like to mix it up.
Absolutely. Now, did you
Definitely doing the cigar a solid justice. Yeah.
Did you do the sit puff?
I did.
What'd you think?
It's an absolute winner. For quick thrown to segment right there. It's I think it's spot on, friend.
Yep.
Yep.
It opens it right up. Now, if this was neat, it would open up a little more. I just don't like I don't like switching the rums and going neat. And because of the segment aspect of this, within 2 hours, we're going to try 3 different rums.
My palate cleanser happens to be a Twisted Tea Peach because it is my birthday and it's one of my absolute favorites.
Right.
For anybody playing at home.
Oh, that's delicious. Completely delicious, right? So getting into the rum segment here, right?
Good call with the ice as well.
Yeah, I figured it would give it a little. So one of the things you want to do is, rum and cigars they make great companions. A lot of people, when they start smoking cigars, they say, oh, wow, well, let's go to, scotch. A lot of people don't think to pair a wine, which we did a wine segment before, or they don't think to pair rum or dare I say tequila. Now, I have a tequila episode in the archives coming up too. But that is tough because we got to do one segment, let it ride, because you can't sit here and do 3 or 4 different things in tequila. I can't.
I'm going to be honest. I'm definitely going to have to take a knee on that one. That's tequila is not for me, but I'll be able to enjoy.
But the Añejo tequila is I think where it's at.
Okay.
And with the rum, we're going to go through some of the different characteristics of rum over there too. So basically, we can also start off with something that everybody knows. It's Bacardi Reserva, right? It's white rum. They just started making it into a spice to get into that market. So you got to look at from a rum perspective. If it's white and they specialize in white and they launched in white, well, there's also spiced rum or dark rum, and market share will tell you that, hey, we can cut into some of the other spiced rum there. But if you're doing a Bacardi Reserva, right, you generally want to focus on any type of medium to full-bodied cigar. So unlike wine, when I did the previous segment, the less complex the rum is, the more, if you want that palate to kind of jump around and kind of have them play against each other,
Gotcha.
Then you would go to a medium or full-bodied cigar. Right, so I always recommend. Well, first of all, I'm not. I can stand here and say, okay, this is what I would recommend with Bacardi, but I try to have it so that if you go a medium cigar, what would you choose for a medium cigar if you were doing a rum? And if you want to skip around, there's no format here. If you want to retaste, that's the Bacardi Superior. So if you want,
right out of the gate, like a San Andreas wrapper, that might have to be one of my favorites, and I'm thinking it's not too ramped up, but it's sturdy enough to be honest.
Pay attention to the tongue on the palate. Different or same? The sensation on the tongue.
It's ramped up a little bit more.
It's ramped up, but do you feel it in different spots or no?
I'm getting it on the back, right on the back end. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's designed for that.
The answer, in my opinion, is different. Right, it's going to be different for everyone. But unlike the first one, where we had the single barrel spiced rum, it kind of gets the sides of the palate, the sides of the tongue.
I was going to say, yeah.
This one should be getting into the back.
Kind of shot right towards the back, and should be spiced up a little bit. I know.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit spiced up. I mean, it's tough to pay attention to that. Like a lot of people don't do that, you know. But this is called the Stogie Geek Show, so we'll geek out a little bit on some stogies and rum, you know. But so now when you're dealing with the single barrel or spiced rum, you might want to go, if it's too strong for you, then you back it down with the cigar.
Right.
Okay, versus like I said, the Bacardi Reserva, it tends to go on the back end. It tends to kick up as far as the alcohol content.
Right,
you
so
should feel it right on the back and right through the nose, right?
Get down the strength a little bit of the cigar, maybe like a mild medium.
Yeah, no. With the Bacardi, you would go medium to full.
Oh, you're gonna match it right up.
Yeah, I would try to match it.
Okay.
You know, I would try to match it there too. One of the things I like to do is, you kind of like.
I'm thinking right out of the gate in Neanderthal. Then that's one of my. We'll get to it later, but that's one of my birthday sticks in a few hours. I'm gonna get to and. That I'm thinking that's going to play well.
Now, what do you think about the Headridge with the white? I didn't do that one yet. Did you do that one yet? Or
yeah,
no?
I did. Take another little sip here.
The smoke content should feel almost covered. You know what I mean by covered? Like think about that. Like the smoke so when you took a sip of the white and then you had the smoke content, it almost feel like it had a film on it, right? Or no?
Nope. No.
If I'm off my rocker, please tell me. You could be like, Joe.
No, it's the first for me, so I'm really trying to pay attention to it. Yeah.
Right. So as opposed to the other one,
matched it a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly, matched. Thank you.
Yep.
Right. So what'll happen is when you have the clear rums, the ones that look clear, you would go with a medium to full-bodied cigar, and then it'll mask that.
Smokiness?
It'll mask the smokiness, in my opinion, of that. So when you deliver it, it's kind of. It also depends on how you want to, what situation you're in. If you're at a family barbecue with the kids and you need to slow down, maybe a Robusto and a little bit of masking with some sipping is a lot better than rum and cigars and going and going crazy. If it's a birthday party and someone's getting married and you're at a bachelor party, you might want to throw in some stronger rums, right? And I have a rum theory that goes all out the window when you meet with Mike Bellady. I have a story about rum and cigars.
We're certainly not going to match that guy drink for drink.
Right, so
it's a world of hurt.
Right, so again, with the Bacardi Reserva, you really want to go to a medium to a full because of the caramel, the vanilla, and the licorice notes that the rum comes. And they say that the white rum is supposed to be similar to like a really dulled down bourbon because of the caramel.
Okay.
Even though you're white and brown, and it's just on the palate with cigars. So when I do pairings, I usually mostly toggle back to some of the classic facings there. So again, white rum, medium, experiment. If you have done some experimentation in the past, or if you're going to watch the show and get back to us, Joe H. at StogieGeeks.com. You can email me, give me a feedback on that there.
Talking about cigars, not college or anything.
No.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
There you go. Yep.
Right. So another one that I really, really liked there was the Aniversario Pampero rum, right? This rum here. Hold on. Right? This rum here, I love going to a big liquor store, not a small one, but like a specialty store that has maybe 50, 60 different rums or 20, 30 different rums as opposed to just 5 or 10 to actually choose from. But with this here is this rum tends to run a little sweet, right?
Yep.
So because it runs a little sweet over on the palate, and we don't have a sample with that, it's got a spicy flavor, but it also has a little bit of cloves and a little bit of cinnamon and tea feel to it.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be a little more mild, but to me on the palate it has more bite,
right? Because
you're in that $25 price range. With the rums.
The sharpness of the flavor is more prominent, you're saying?
Excuse me?
The sharpness of the flavor is more prominent?
The sharpness of the alcohol is more. You know how sometimes you take a spirit, especially if you're doing it neat, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah, let you know it's there.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
So with that being said, because it has some spice there, I wanted to pair it with something, because it had an alcoholic, I don't want to say alcoholic bite, because it had a sometimes you take a sip of a spirit and it tends to have a bite with it. Now you can go either way with that. If the bite is too hard or too harsh for you, then you would go with a mild cigar.
Gotcha.
Yep. Real mild, Connecticut. I would go, maybe Hoyo de Monterey, or I would go Ashton, Connecticut. I like the Griffins. I've always been a little, the Griffins, Connecticut.
Yep.
If you wanted to get into some of the boutique cigars, you can try any type of Connecticut. So, if you're doing a rum.
I'm thinking right off the bat, Matilda Serena. That's one of those later cigars that I absolutely enjoy, and I'm thinking stronger alcohol pairing. Probably be a win. Mm-hmm. Nice.
But if you want to get rowdy on the palate. Right?
Let's get to them.
if you want to get rowdy on the palate, you would go something with a little more strength. So maybe La Flora Dominicana, or I'm talking regular La Flora Dominicana. I'm not talking anything with like the Lajero.
Right.
I would probably go Nicaraguan with that.
Okay.
So if it were me, toggling back, if I were doing the Bacardi regular. I would do something medium, maybe full. I would do medium and what I call like completely tasty. Like
Gotcha.
tasty with the cigar.
Right.
Because I like to balance spirit. Sometimes I have a spirit neat and I'm like, wow, it's completely tasty. Like last episode we had that Pilar rum, was that right?
Pilar, yep.
Yeah, we had the Pilar. To me it was really, really tasty, right? So if I had that there, I would go with a cigar that I would, if it's really, really tasty on the end of the spirit, I would probably peel back and go more of a medium.
Okay.
There for me, right? If it's a little more harsher in the alcohol, taste of alcohol, and the alcohol company is trying to get more of the cinnamon flavor or more of the caramel flavor or more of the rum notes, but it still tastes like heavier, dare I say, cheaper alcohol or something like that, then you could either peel it way back on the cigar spectrum, or you can just ramp it right up. I've had
Just meet it head on and
I mean, and again,
depends on the mood where you're at.
That would exactly
that campfire scenario you're saying. That's
Yep, that would depend on your mood over there. So like I said, if you're gonna do it with like that Pompero anniversary, like I said, it's a $20 something bottle. You could do, like I said, Ashton, Hoyo de Monterey, something like that. If you wanted to kick it in, nice La Flor Dominican, something tasty, So, and then, and I don't mean to throw out brand names. I'm just trying to give the listeners kind of like a gauge as to what type of cigar feel that I'm trying to articulate. Because sometimes, when they're ranked medium to me might not be medium to you and stuff like that.
The Christoph GC is coming to mind for me. That's certainly some strength, but flavor bomb for days. Matchup.
This is a rum that I think does not get enough of attention, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on it there, right? This rum here, and I almost got this rum when we were prepping for the show.
Yep.
I knew you saw it on the shelf. The Mount Gay.
I did see that.
Yep, the Mount Gay. Hold on, I'm 21. Yes, I am 21. I promise. All right. Again, the Mount Gay, you're gonna have it's fragrant, it's sweet, it's light, clear. They got a little bit of molasses in there, right? It's
Nice
really
presentation on the bottle. That's what stood out for me too.
Yeah, but it's one of those things I feel. And again, I'm just judging from my center of influence and the consumers that I know. They would use that to kind of mix something with.
Okay.
So if they were going to do maybe like a rum, it's summertime, break out the ice machine and do something, do a rum and coke and whatnot. It's one of those older blends that have just been on the shelf. They retail for around, I think it's like $20. Yep. They retail for around $20, and with that, you're going to get vanilla and citrus notes, straightforward. It's called a medium bodied rum, okay? And what's interesting about this rum, and I really think that you might want to pick some up, because if you have it neat, it tastes totally different than if it was on the rocks. Because when you put it on the rocks, and there's actually a note here, when you actually put it on when you put it on ice, it becomes more sugary and then has an oily finish, as opposed to if you had it neat, it would not have that much of a texture. So texture
a little more crisp.
Exactly.
Okay.
So from there, now you can say, okay, well, if I have a Mount Gay rum pairing, I can go two different ways. And see, that's really the joy of pairing is to, it's everyone's experimentation. But if you were going to have something that is more sugary and a little bit of sweeter, you see where I'm going with that type of brand because of that component. Consumers, in my opinion, from my experience, tend to use that as a mixing drink. Because if they were going to mix it to make either a pina colada, or if they were going to mix, maybe, some type of summertime fun drink type thing, with that there, they would do that. So if you were having a sugary, sweet type of rum, What cigar would you go with?
Interesting. My go-to is always the Malibu, but I'm trying to branch off.
What, the Malibu rum?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Malibu rum, the fruity drinks, tailor-made for the summertime. Mm-hmm. But I'm certainly going to reach out for this one and some of these others. Get into a larger shop and more of a diverse selection. Mm-hmm. That's part of the fun.
Well, clear your palate, because now we're going to go sugary sweet, because we've already delved into the other one, right? So this is not the Mount Gay, but this is to mimic the sugary mixed drink era of rums, right? And we are going to dabble a scotch into cigar-infused rums and give some thoughts. But so when you do that now,
oh, that is sweet.
Delicious as is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this stuff
Yeah, it
is dangerous. Like this stuff is on my counter.
How much of this do we have?
This is no. This stuff is on my counter, and it's great in the summertime when you just want to sit and you just want to have a quick cocktail after work and just unwind. You don't need much. Is this?
That's also
Not cigar rating, but is this Oasis? Like this is like flip flop. Now, did you do the
full set.
each?
Yeah, delicious. Sweet. I'm not. The cigar itself doesn't detract from the sweetness of the rum. It's. I'm still getting rum on the palate. It's still surfacing, and I was able to properly enjoy the cigar as well.
Let me ask you this question: do you get, when you do a sweet infused? I'm going to say sweet infused, so it's a sweeter rum. So obviously, if you do a little bit of research, they have coconut. They have one that mimics Fireball. They have a couple that are dragon fruit.
Right.
They have some that are lime, made for fruity drinks. So this is to mimic one of those, say like a pina colada or something like that, right? Do you think it takes away from the cigar? Not like take away from the cigar experience. Take away from the taste of the cigar. Because in my
I'd say so.
Yeah.
It's going to take away some of that bite, but maybe the consumer at home, they may be after that. They may not be the heaviest of smokers. They're not whacking 3+ cigars down a day, or it could be at tail end of the night, and want to give that palate a rest. This is certainly going to do that. You're going to enjoy it,
right.
and I wouldn't necessarily pair that with a one of the pricier sticks.
No,
because you don't want to lose that. That you're specifically reaching out for that reason.
excellent point. That's the point I was trying to get at.
Gotcha.
Is if you're having something that has a lot of sugar in it, or like this rum, the Mount Gay rum that you have, and then if you were to have it neat, you'd have one experience. But if you were to throw in ice or throw in other things to make a recipe, and that recipe tend to be on the really, really sugary side, my opinion, doesn't matter what you smoke.
Right.
Like it does not matter
Yeah.
what you smoke. I mean, I've taken shortcuts even here on the show. A perfect example of that non-rum is if I have a cigar and it's either not agreeing with me or I'm not liking it or whatever rating you give it to, it doesn't matter. That's another segment. A classic thing is like a Di Serono.
There you go.
Because it's boom. It's got that amaretto. It's got that sweetness. And I think that, actually I know, right, because I have friends who I ask, but the more sugary component that the drink has, the more it'll take away from the cigar. So a real sugary drink, such as this,
More prominent on the palate.
yeah. So the rule of thumb is don't have an Opus X with the sugary drink because it should take away from the because I think even the Opus X flavor really wouldn't get past this force field here. What do you think?
I agree.
But it is good rum.
Yeah.
It is amazing. Like we get,
It is really good. I'm going to grab another sample while we're here.
Yeah, it's so good. But again, in my opinion, it just takes away from that component. It takes away from that component. So again, with the Mount Gay rum, straightforward. It's a medium-bodied rum. If you have it neat, it's awesome. It gives you a bite, so you really feel like you're having a strong a rum drink, a strong rum drink. But when you put it on ice, it totally comes up with the sugary component. That's why a lot of people use it for mixing drinks, and because it's cheap when you're mixing drinks too.
Right. Very nice.
A rum like this, toggling back to the Thomas 2 rum over here, we have it on ice, and when we finish for the next segment, we're going to pour it neat, and you shouldn't notice any different other than the hot cold in your mouth. It should tackle the tongue right on the two sides.
That is how we had it pregame, and I was able to notice that too. Just difference with the ice there is definitely a change. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And how you get to this point is you just got to play around. You just gotta play around. Know what you like. Know what you don't like. I always carry summertime. I always carry a couple of sticks that if I'm at a party and they're serving sugary drinks, I'm not gonna bother taking out that stick that I've craved for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
You're just not gonna do that.
I can tell this is not a bad way to spend a birthday.
We're not done yet. By the way, if you want to wish Joe D a happy birthday, Joe H at StogieGeeks.com. That'll be our next segment that we're going to do, so stay tuned for that. We'll have to do a birthday thing. I'm sure it'll surround more rum and more rum stories. Right?
That's fine by me.
One of the things that I think has really hit the market there is two things. You have you ever heard of Cruzan rum?
No.
They got like a little sailboat, a little Cruzan. No? Well, Cruzan rums make a whole bunch of other flavored rums, if you will. So they play in that market. But what they do make is a single barrel estate rum. So in other words, they've gone out and made all these tropical flavors. So if you go to my family travels to Hilton Head ever since we were little. So, we've always seen in a tiki bar, you got Cruzana and you got like 6 different versions and whatnot.
Actually, being on vacation, that's
that's where it's at, right?
Yep,
so it has all of those flavors, right? So because they're making all the mixed drinks and all of that stuff with it. But Cruzan makes a single barreled estate rum. So and it's got, in my opinion, it's got a lot of oakiness to it.
Okay.
It's really one of those things like you'd be like, Croissant, they probably make it. It's probably low batch there. But what's really nice about it is their version, not mine, they tried to mimic some cognac. So it's pretty good. Like it's a really good rum, and maybe in another segment as the Stogie Geeks journey continues, I'll break off into, maybe we'll do just, the Mount Gay versus the Cruzan thing or something like that. But, Joe Josempa's personal favorite when it comes to rum. So let me get back. I'm ADD's kicking in. I'm sorry. Right? Cruzan single, since it has that pronounced oakiness and it's on the tongue, it's full bodied, right? You taste a little bit, you start to taste like after a while, you start to taste like once you get past the oakiness, you get into the rum part,
right,
where, which traditional, you get that cinnamon or you get some sort of a sweetness.
Yep.
There. With that being said, because of those notes, I paired that up with any cigar that you would have that would have a leathery component. So
interesting.
Have at it, right? So
yeah.
So that being
it feels
said,
pretty open.
Yeah. So I mean, so you could go maybe with a Maduro. You can certainly go Joe's favorite in Paul's Humidor. One of Joe's favorites in Paul's Humidor, the pork tenderloin.
There you go.
It has that whole component. You can certainly go the EP Carrillo 2013. Limited edition, the limited release I gave in Oasis last week.
Yep.
It has that component that you just search for, and as long as you don't mix it with anything, in my opinion, because as soon as you stop putting like the OJ, the Coke, or you start making cocktails, which is good. Now sometimes I'll have a Robusto, and then just do maybe one neat. And then depending on the social part, if you're not going to be having cigars all day or whatever, you can just, have at it and go on to the drinks with the umbrellas or whatever, which are good. they are good too.
They're all good.
One of the things I like, a couple more rums I want to get through. I love Doc and Stormies. I love Doc and Stormies for a couple of reasons, right? First and foremost, historically, my family loves Doc and Stormies, right?
You were raised on it.
So growing up as a kid, my father was in the military and the Navy, and his shipmates would come in and they would have Doc and Stormies. And let me tell you something, that's that Goslin sweet rum, right? It's mixed with Goslin, has some ginger beer. I love to mix the Doc and Stormies with the ginger beer, but the non-Goslin is ginger beer. So I like to take regular ginger beer with the Goslin's rum and then mix it to make your Doc and Stormies. But they're, in my opinion, completely complicated to pair a cigar with, right? Because there is a sugary component.
There's too much going on.
There's just way too much going on. So what I do, I just wanted to mention the Doc and Stormies, right? What I do with a pair, when I'm with my non-cigar smoking friends, I have a Doc and Stormy, right? You got to maximize your time, You got to maximize your time. But if you were, I don't know, basically some of the pairings that I've came across there would be anything mild. Because again, you just got so much sugar going on. It's back to that Mount Gay rum argument. Or
There's such thing as too much. So you want to enjoy the Dark and Stormy, but tailor made that milder cigar. Mm-hmm. Yep, I got you.
Now, a long, long time ago. No, I'm only kidding. We had met a gentleman by the name of Mike Bellady, right?
Good guy, friend of the show.
And he's not only a friend of the show, he absolutely, positively, inside baseball, loves Ron Zacapa. Like, loves it, Yep. And when my first impression of him, when I met him at a couple of shops, is he, comes in, you do a pairing, pairs it with that. We've gone out to dinner with him, had the opportunity to go offline and hang out. Loves that rum. So, ultimately, when you're with Mike Bellady,
now you know.
What do you smoke?
Right.
You smoke either a Imperia, right, when it first came out.
Yep.
And I will tell you that I don't know if it's meant to go together. I don't know if that was planned. But to me, that's how I was raised, MLB, Cigar Ventures, right? So to me, Ron Zacapa goes awesome with the Imperia and David P. Ehrlich. The other stuff, the Aventador, and the what's the other one off the top of my head? The Islaro. Right, the Islaro. I've never had with Ron Zacapa, but I had David P. Ehrlich, and I've had the Imperia, his original brand, with Ron Zacapa rum. Neat, straight up, no ice, no mess, no fuss. Boom.
Done deal.
And let me tell you something. There's and it's funny because Ron Zacapa rum tends to be you're in that $38-$40 range.
I was going to ask you that price point.
Yep, you're in that $38-$40 range. But when you're having it neat, to me it's so well balanced where it has a sweetness component, but it also has a, dare I say, a mimicking of the cognac component there.
Have you had it with ice? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like it with ice. I don't like it with ice. I've had a little bit of ice because sometimes you don't want to dry you where you are if you're someplace hot or whatever and whatnot, and you're just like and just neat straight up it really does the trick, So let's wrap up this segment by just give me some of your personal notes and some of your personal takeaways. What are you thinking?
I think right now, seeing I'm semi new to the rum game, I'm kind of leaning more towards the sweeter side, but I can appreciate the strength and complexity of the two.
Do you pair? Well, let's start with that. Do you pair cigars with other spirits, and if so, what? Or you just don't? You keep them separate still?
For the most part, I'm really, a whiskey and bourbon based kind of guy. Some red wine if I want to get loose, and some good old-fashioned twisted tea I have for everything. It's a nice palate cleanser and get that sweetness. I'm more along the sweetness end of it. But that said, going back to what we were talking about, you're not have to pair a stronger, more, not even stronger, but a more expensive cigar, kind of in that middle price range. To enjoy the two, not have one more overpowering than the other. But I'm willing to try.
Yes.
Venture out. That's half the fun.
See, with me, most of my pairings is done in the summer.
Okay.
Because personally, most of my cigar smoking is done during the business hours, and I don't go around and drinking rum all day and pairing cigars and then show up at clients.
You're not about that pirate life.
It's not, it's not a good habit to get into, I guess. But
it's a bad look.
But when I do sit down and do get, because to me, sitting down and having a cigar and relaxing is one thing. Sitting down and pairing it is. I need a Sunday fun day or Saturday weekend. I don't like to pair it. Like I don't like to golf and drink. You know what I mean? Like I'll have a couple drinks on the golf course, but I don't try to mix the two. I like to have my cigars, have my rum, have whatever it is. But this stuff,
I think I'm in the.
But this
I'm in the
stuff,
opposite minority there.
this stuff is on the counter, right?
That's
this
good.
this is amazing. This is it's
Any time of day.
And this, I mean,
Which is dangerous.
If you if God forbid something happened to you and you had 10 days, I think this should be your
all 10
your drink of your drink of choice. So what do we learn, right from this? The more sugar content on the palate, or the sweeter the content of the rum, just go into some mild. You could go into a harsh cigar because it might not matter. Right? It might not matter on your palate. And then there you go. If you're mixing drinks with the rum, pina colada, etc., then you'll go with that.
I think rate of smoke, too, if you happen tend to be a smoke a little bit on the faster end, maybe that stronger cigar, it's going to power its way through some of that sweetness.
Right.
But more relaxed pace, probably, like you said, you probably want to deviate from that.
One of the things... this is Stogie Geeks, right? We got to have some recipes, right? Because some of the listeners there, I don't want to go too crazy on the recipes. I will post a link to the recipes over on the Stogie Geeks wiki after the show, so you can get your own recipes that would go with the Thomas 2 rum. For the next segment, we're going to continue with the Thomas 2. But one of the recipes here, I think...
why is the rum gone?
Right, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone, right? It's called obviously, Thomas 2 is Newport. It's called the Newport Stormy, okay? 4 ounces of ginger beer over ice with Thomas 2 rum. Bang, done, over.
Yep.
Now, I've actually started that last year at this time because, again, socially I'm spending more time outdoors, so I'm doing a little bit more pairing. I'm not going to sit outside and freeze.
Right.
I'm not going to pair rum and then go see a client, you know what I mean, in the wintertime. I don't advise you to do that, right? So you have a Newport Stormy, and I've actually gotten off of the Goslings and gone through regular straight rums with the ginger. And let me tell you something, that is workable in the cigar pairing realm as opposed to the straight Goslings, because the Goslings black spicy rum, I mean, it's sugar. It's just sugar 101 when it comes to rum, right? That being said, when you're dealing with like a single barrel rum or a specialty rum or something like this, the Thomas 2, the sugar comes from the sugar comes from more from the ginger than the actual rum.
Gotcha.
But you also don't want to spend a ton of money on rum and smash it with some ginger beer either. You know what I mean?
No, not if you're entertaining for a number of people.
Right. So there you go. They do have a 2 old-fashioned, and I had to mention this because Paul loves to do some old-fashions, and maybe we might have to save him a little bit for that. But you do 2 ounces of Thomas 2 rum, 2 dashes of bitters, and 5 ounces of simple syrup there. And you can do a 2, because TEW, Thomas 2 rum, it's called the 2 old-fashioned. There. You can make daiquiris with it. You can make some Mai Tais with it. We got to do this one. in reference to Rhode Island, and because I love the name. The name of this drink is called Hoist the Colors.
Nice.
Right?
Name of the show.
So Hoist the Colors as we rated Paul's humidor to create this episode. What number is this?
235, I believe.
235, episode 235. We hoisted the colors. All right, but this is Thomas 2 rum mixed with an ounce of native Rhode Island autocrat coffee syrup.
Ooh.
Right? And you top it with ice. So it'd be like almost like a sombrero, I guess, because you're mimicking the color
Right.
or whatever. But again, when you're looking at that from the autocrat, you know it's going to be sugary sweet.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know it's so sugary sweet. So
Set you off on a diabetic
so
coma.
automatically, if I were here and say, okay, we're going to do Hoist the Colors, and you knew that it was a sugary sweet madness with the autocrat,
Right.
you should know what cigar to peel from listening to this episode.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if we're going to have it neat, then you can experiment with some of the other cigars that you like, because it will change not only the drink, it'll change the smoke as well.
Not afraid to dig deep into the humidor and grab one of those tasty ones.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's my takeaway from Rum 101 with Joe.
It's an education.
Any questions?
I'm good. Maybe
We're good?
maybe the listeners.
When we come back, we're going to say happy birthday to Joe D. We're going to talk about birthday smokes. And then, dare I say, there's a super fight coming. And I don't know how I feel about this. We'll be right back.
Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest growing boutique cigar companies, provides smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of the perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the quality and construction that he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran signature line, Azan, Nea, and Baracoa. Duran uses a seed to humidor approach, as all of their tobacco is grown in their farms and rolled in their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Premium Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard.
Welcome back to the Stogie Geeks Show. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa. To my right is Joe D.
How you doing?
Say hi.
Welcome back.
If you're just tuning in to the Stogie Geeks, last segment we were talking about rums and pairing rums. Just to let you know that we're going to continue the tradition with the Thomas II single barrel aged rum here. We had it poured over ice. There is a difference when you pour some rum over ice and some rums not over ice over there. However, this is one of those rums I think works either way. Want some more? A little bit? There you go, right?
Good.
So today is Joe D's birthday. So if he wants to talk about his age, he is more certainly more welcome to.
38, not 45, despite the hairline. Take it easy.
All right. So first and foremost, Joe D, happy birthday.
Cheers, old boy. Thank you.
You get to spend. I'm hoping my birthday. I didn't go through the calendar. I'm hoping.
See what's on a Monday? Yeah.
If my birthday's on a Monday, I'm in like Flynn, right?
We have to go off schedule. If it's random Wednesday or something.
Right. But you know, and my birthday's in the cold. It's in January.
Shame.
You know, It's in January, but it's just further enough away from the holidays where I don't get chinched out on gifts as a little kid. You know,
That's
as
true.
opposed to my cousin Mike, he was December 23rd, and you want to talk about like just getting a bum deal as a kid. Anyway, right?
It's my son, December 30th.
Oh, really?
Old guy, yeah.
So you gotta,
I'll have to step it up for him.
give him the leftover gifts and whatnot, right? So we are pairing right now the Thomas II with the Potagus, right? The rum's kicking in.
Yep.
The Potagus Heritage Robusto, right? And
Tasty
so
cigar. First time I'm having it, and one particular flavor's at the forefront for me. I'm getting, I believe it's a nuttiness. This nuttiness that I'm getting. It was able to work its way and power its way through the rum as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have a Connecticut broadleaf binder in 3 fillers. You have Dominican, Honduran, and Mexican San Andreas. So
Partial to San Andreas.
you know, I think now you should maybe settle into the cigar with this segment because we're only going to be having one rum sampling, right there. And I think that the Thomas II neat will totally bring it out.
Nice.
You know, it'll totally bring it out.
There we go.
In regards to that. And one of the things I want to talk about over on the Stogie Geek segment this week, considering that it is Joe D's birthday, is birthday cigars. I mean, you know, as we get older, and, you know, some of us have life and kids and all that type stuff, well, basically, you know, sometimes the birthdays get blended in and whatnot. But, again, when you have a cigar and you sit back, what do you think of birthday cigars? And then I also wanted to combine the segment because I think maybe the birthday cigars kind of tailors in a little bit with celebratory cigars. Mm-hmm. And looking back on the Stogie Geeks episodes, we just did a segment on celebratory cigars.
Right.
So to entertain the listeners, I didn't want to spend too much time on this, but I definitely want to squeeze this in, right, there's a super fight.
Yeah, there is.
That is scheduled. Okay? And for those of you who might follow boxing or might follow the rich tradition of boxing, or those of you who might follow mixed martial arts or MMA,
Yes.
and the former, and I do say former, rich tradition of mixed martial arts, we are going to have a combined event. It's scheduled for August 26th. It is Conor McGregor, UFC. I'm sure most of our Stogie Geeks listeners know who he is. And then we have Floyd Mayweather, boxer with the 49-0 record.
Right.
There too. And I wanted to spend some time on this because we are going to do a Stogie Geeks segment on boxing and MMA. We're just trying to get all of the characters that are going to be involved because that's going to be a round table with some people who have been
live fighters.
Well, yeah, we're gonna be getting some live fighters. We're trying to get some local fighters. We're trying to schedule that, and then also I want to talk about it. We're gonna be getting a fight promoter in here to talk about the other side of the game. But I think
the game within the game.
But I think it's your birthday, and you are a boxing and MMA fan.
I am.
And you did give me permission to talk about this, so I think that we should combine the two because I remember I have mixed feelings about the topic of your birthday and fights. Okay, because the first thing that comes to my mind as it's Joe D's birthday and fights is I remember going to fights as either a participant and not having cigars because I was a participant.
Yep.
But I remember as I got older, going to fights and being a spectator and being able to have a cigar while you're watching a fight, right? So, I mean...
Just before my time. I wish I was in the cigar game at that time.
There was a day, right? There was a day when you went to fights and local retail shops sold cigars at fights.
Beautiful thing.
And there was a day.
What a perfect marriage of the two.
I'll tell you. I could sit here for 3 hours telling you stories. Especially the local talent. But let's kind of peel back everything and talk about. I think we can have a mixed discussion about that and make it really celebratory for your birthday.
For me, it was the CES local promotion. Going to Roads on the Patuxent here before it moved on to Twin River. And
for those of you who are outside of Rhode Island and Worcester and Connecticut and don't know what CES is, CES stands for Classic Entertainment and Sports. You can go to CES Boxing or CES MMA because they do both now. But I remember there was a time when they only did boxing.
Right.
And then you have, those.
That's what I was initially raised on before I get into,
the boxing.
Super fan of the MMA. The boxing, all the local fights. It was my brother, my old man, myself, maybe uncles and cousins. It was just a great night out. Local talent.
Yep.
Phenomenal boxing. It was an event. It was an absolute event.
It was an event. I remember when businesses I was involved in sponsored some of the CES fights.
Right.
And I would take my dad, and my dad is like Fonseca only. Can't handle anything over a Fonseca. You know what I mean?
I feel specifically Rhode Island's a rite of passage as a youth almost.
And I remember taking my dad to a boxing event and saying, hey, well, this company I represent is going to be sponsoring either the ring cards or whatever it is that they did. And I remember taking my dad and I remember, asking the cigar retailer, you bring a Fonseca's? And they're like, no.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, no, we're going to do some other mild Connecticut.
Right.
And I remember taking a Fonseca for my dad. Because my dad would be one of those people who would, there's no Fonsecas there? What are these guys? Don't know what they're doing, right?
Yep.
It's military, right? So, it's one of those things where, I remember that there is a tradition. And then now, fast forward, right? Fast forward, we have a MMA superstar. And I do want to use the word superstar. I know that on other shows, people throw out super fights, either boxing podcast or any other cigar podcast or whatever. They throw out the word super fights or they throw out the word superstars and whatnot. But you got to look what I think is interesting about this opportunity is you have two people who are the master of their craft.
They've absolutely been able to back up everything that their mouth is ran with, and they've achieved the absolute pinnacle of the sport. So this is a great situation. Match the two. I feel boxing has more to lose in this situation. Where are you at with that?
I
feel like,
let me tell you something. Just for those of you scoring at home, zero show prep on the birthday segment. The rum, we spent most of the time on the rum segment, so there's zero prep here.
It's just off the cuff.
But let me tell you something.
Two fans talking.
I feel when you're talking about stuff, we take away the obvious and get to the meat and potatoes. Right? The meat and potatoes of the fight. Floyd Mayweather, 49-0, phenomenal record.
Defensive specialist.
Can't
overlook that.
Not a fan. Full disclosure, not a fan.
Right. Personal life or actual?
No,
boxing skills?
I'm not a fan when a fighter gets away from tradition. Okay, as someone who has boxed in college and someone who has participated in the sport of both boxing and MMA, more boxing. MMA was just complete recreational. Because I do believe that age-wise, MMA prolongs the career of the boxer, the Western boxing. Okay. But that's another argument from another standpoint.
Right.
But when you get like your Floyd Mayweather, 49-0, this isn't going to be a sanctioned fight. Boxing has more to lose because if he beats Conor, see, I think both of them. My official stance. I have so many mixed feelings on this. So if it comes out jumbled, I'm jumbled to begin with, and this is going to come out really jumbled. So you might have to fast forward and rewind this podcast a couple of times to really get my thought through, right? I think boxing in general has more to lose in regards to this, but I think Floyd, in his positioning, of the position that he put himself in, of tainting, dare I say tainting, that 49-0 record. Now, a lot of people are saying, okay, on the opposite, that's the obvious. He's got a 49-year-old record, a 49-0 record, phenomenal fighter, defensive, best in the game defensively.
You can't possibly lose it. His craft to this Neanderthal.
Great
cigar, moderate term.
Now we get to the meat and potatoes of the discussion. We have Conor, right? Relatively new on the scene from a UFC perspective.
Yep.
Gone through a little story of rags to riches. We all know the story. They're pretty much all the same, right? And then all of a sudden becomes this MMA superstar. So I'm concerned for a couple of things. I'm concerned about...
Much younger? Does that factor in at all?
Yeah, no. I mean, it depends on shape. I mean, age now is not as big as an issue.
Yeah, it's not George Foreman in his 50s. This is
as
Mayweather
still
peak condition.
Mayweather is an amazing and I don't want to take away anything from each other, and I don't want this to get into like a sports version of a podcast, but I do think that you are not going to be able to go into any cigar shop and not have this conversation, considering the fight's 68 days away.
Every shop I've been in the last week or so, that's...
Oh, it's topic of conversation. I mean, it's either presidential, FDA, by the way, everything that with the Cuban travel, gone.
Oh, yeah.
But
taking a backseat. Yep.
You can still do cigars. Provocative. That might be another segment coming soon.
Right.
Because I think that is real. If that's not a glimmer of hope for the FDA, there. But anyway, moving on, right? I think that Floyd has a lot more to lose in this regards, but I do think that Conor is no slouch as well. So it's your birthday, so we can get as deep as you want on this conversation, or we can be as vague as you want.
For boxing, I was always a big Arturo Gatti fan.
Yep.
Arturo Gatti and Chris Bird, classic counterpuncher, lefty. As they always say, styles make fights. McGregor is the ultimate aggressor. Mayweather, the classic counterpuncher. He's going to sit back. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun TV. They're going to make out like bandits. We're going to pay through the nose, unless you watch it at a prime location somewhere.
Sure.
It just fuels the age-long debate, and the MMA game. Yeah, I was a boxing fan first. Completely disappointed by I felt the matchups that the fans actually wanted to see weren't there. MMA is not going away. It's here. It's alive and well. The matchups are great. I feel this might be boxing's last chance to get over the hump. And they Mayweather, boxing as a whole, certainly stands to lose more, but they can absolutely gain a ton of respect, and I feel put boxing back on the map where it belongs, right in that top echelon of sporting events. Events is where it's at.
So you're all for this event?
I'm all for it. I feel my personal beliefs about Mayweather, put that aside, just the event itself. I'm all about large events, sporting events. You can't beat it. Whatever facet. Hockey, golf, combat sports. So yeah, it's going to be enjoyable.
So tailoring this to Stogie Geek Show, what's the buzz around all the local cigar shops? Are they all for it too?
Absolutely all for it, and Sports Talk Radio. Everything has Mayweather by a landslide. I think for betting terms, some good money with McGregor.
It's 400.
Anything could happen.
It's 400 to 1.
Anybody
as we
can.
speak.
Anybody. There you go.
Yep.
Any given night, any given Sunday, anybody can get hit with that one shot. The longer the fight goes, I feel it plays into Mayweather for sure. That's his forte. That's his realm. He wouldn't stand 2 seconds in the MMA world. However, McGregor's making a huge step, and he's made his money. Title champion in 2 different weight classes. There's not much more for this guy to do, even at a young point in his career. He's only 3-4 years in, but this is what the fans want. So I feel the boxing fans, unfortunately, they have to reach outside of the boxing realm to get what they want. The super fights, right? There's nothing left in the boxing world to offer Mayweather. Other fighters, for absolutely, but this is it for him.
Okay.
Cap off his career. Where do you stand? Do you
I
agree,
completely disagree with everything you've said.
Okay.
Every single thing you said. I think number one, the sport should be separate. I think MMA, there's a problem with MMA and there's a problem with boxing. Let's go back, right? I love debate, so that's why I love debate. So realistically speaking, let's go back to boxing. Boxing's been in trouble since '92 that I know of.
Okay.
Because I was a participant in the sport in '92. Graduated high school in '93. Graduated college in '98.
As far back as '92, you saw the.
As far back as
change.
'92, I saw boxing in trouble. Really? Everyone uses, every time I go to a cigar shop, boxing's in trouble. Boxing's in trouble. Boxing. It's been in trouble since '92 that I know of.
Okay.
Okay. So that puts me at 17 years old then. Okay. So boxing's been in trouble since '72, yet it's prevailed. Foreign countries, right? You think of countries like Mexico, or as they say, Mexico, right?
Yep.
Mexico, okay? You think countries that, dare I say, like Vladimir Lomachenko, coming from putting another country on the map boxing-wise. I think it's one of those spheres, like cigars, that if you're in the know, you're in the know. And from a super fight perspective and a fan perspective, real fans, I don't think would want to see this happen of either sport, because I think it's going to tarnish both sports. And I also think, win or lose, it's the end of the road for Conor McGregor, not Floyd Mayweather. And I actually think Conor McGregor has more to lose than Floyd Mayweather. And I can tell you why if you want to spend time on that. This is your birthday segment.
We stand divided. I want to hear it.
This is your birthday segment,
I want to hear it.
right? I don't want to, you can be the host of this segment if you want. We can switch chairs, right?
All good.
But it's one of those things where I think, this is a non-sanctioned fight. Win or lose, it's going to be under boxing rules. I love it when people in cigar shops say, well, Conor's going to slip and throw a punch. He's not going to slip and throw a punch. It's called discipline. People should actually try it sometime in the world. It's a great thing, okay? Having done both, in the ring, me, octagon, me, there is a complete difference, dynamic-wise, of the fight between traditional MMA and boxing. Complete psyche, mental, there you go. Okay, but I think that Conor, win or lose, we're done with Conor McGregor, which I think is bad for the UFC. Okay, because Conor hasn't really proved himself in the UFC yet, and the reason why he hasn't proved himself in the UFC yet is because he took down Jose Aldo. This is when he put himself on the map, let's be honest, right? He put himself on the map. Jose Aldo defended his title for 10 years. Defended his title for 10 years. And I know Dan from Christoph is turning once he sees this show, right? And if this was a call-in show, he'd be calling in and arguing this point. But here's the point, right? Conor he defeated Jose Aldo, but Jose Aldo defended his title for 10 years in a row. And then Jose Aldo got taken out in 13 seconds, but Conor took a punch. Why don't you write that down on a little side note? Conor took Jose Aldo's punch before he took him out in 13 seconds. Here's the dynamic of the fight. Conor wins. Conor gets a payday. He's done boxing. He might get into boxing.
That's
But not
possible.
for nothing. Boxing doesn't need another 150-pounder. Boxing
needs an absolute infusion of life. Boxing's
all
dead.
the sports need an infusion of life because this is my argument with this, right? Now, because of the MMA realm, MMA quotes, right?
Yep.
Before, when MMA came out, you had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist against whatever his or her craft was. You had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against Judo. You had Western boxing versus Judo. You had Brazilian, whatever it was. You were a master of your craft, which is in the fight game is called your bread and butter, right? And so if you were losing a fight, you went back to your bread and butter.
Always.
Okay, but now the MMA fighters are so watered down, they're learning MMA. They're not a master of whatever. You know, he's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, before you put black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So now the ground game might not be as powerful for ABC fighter.
I disagree. I feel
Okay, that's awesome. That's why that's great.
much better product all around. I don't feel the the true diehard boxing fans as we were.
Mm-hmm.
You still are. I don't feel those fans are reaching over, still continuing to pay top dollar for those pay-per-view events. Whereas the MMA world, it's alive and well, thriving. The gates are still through the roof, and I'm a super fan of the MMA. Watched every fight, every event, all the way through top to bottom. I feel it's in all weight classes deep, but I might be the minority too. I'm on the extreme side. So with that, that middle ground, we're both on the extreme for each of the sport. But at the end of the day, it's good pub for both sports.
Sure.
On the map. That's the winner is boxing and MMA together.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's we're completely divided,
Any
but
predictions?
it's cool.
Before we get to the birthday sticks, which is the point of this segment.
Well, Mayweather doesn't knock anybody out. It's going to be a Mayweather decision, and whatever it is, 10 rounds or 15, whatever.
Maybe 12.
12.
Can't fight 15 since 1992.
Okay.
By law.
It's going to be a Mayweather decision. Or Mayweather catches a quick shot, first round. And when he's dry, that's it. That's where I'm at.
Wow. It's amazing.
I don't see it. It's not going to be a highly contested contest back and forth. It's going to be, typical long, boring fight, Mayweather style. It's going to get the decision, or McGregor strikes gold, the Irish gold, and lands one lucky shot.
No, you got to make a prediction. You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side.
I'm waffling. I go Mayweather decision.
You go Mayweather decision. Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Wow. Okay. Again, totally disagree.
Adamantly
Totally disagree.
Okay.
Reason why, I'll just give it to you in 2 segments so we can get to the point of this segment, right?
Yep.
Reason why, 12-ounce or 10-ounce gloves, doesn't matter. Way different than 4-ounce glove. Conor McGregor can take punches with 4-ounce glove, has done it tremendously.
Yep.
The only time Conor McGregor has ever been challenged was when he was using his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in all of his fights. All of his stand-up has been just short of phenomenal.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
So there's only time he's been challenged is 3 times, right? All ground, which is why when he fought Nate Diaz second time, would not go to the ground.
My favorite fighter, by the way.
Right? Mine too. We agree on something,
Nice.
right? We agree on something.
Making progress.
Right, I'm in a shop and they're like, oh, well, what do you think if Nate Diaz fought Floyd Mayweather? Different fight.
Absolutely
Different argument.
Diaz is a classically trained boxer.
I think Floyd
with the
Mayweather,
appreciation.
I'll go on record,
Yeah.
I think Floyd Mayweather cannot beat Conor McGregor. I think Floyd Mayweather can beat Nate Diaz. And you know why? It's only got one reason. The psyche. The psyche of both.
Nate Diaz is stubborn, and he will want to stand and
Floyd
test.
Floyd is a smart fighter. I don't want to take anything away from Floyd Mayweather. Even though most of his fights should be sponsored by Saucony because he runs away.
Yeah, he does.
He's defensive, right? Anyway, right? However, realistically speaking, I think Conor can take Floyd. I don't think Nate Diaz can take Floyd. I go Conor McGregor. Not decision.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yes.
And believe me, I've been in 3 different cigar shops, and I have been told crazy. I have been told ludicrous. I have been called arrogant. But I have bet Davidoffs in every one.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Every
Beautiful.
one. I says, "Are you want to do it?" Well, I'm on to smoke a Davidoff or an Opus X. Nothing less. That's the way it goes. So I'm either going to be collecting, or I'll be paying out over in the cigars. But that's my digress.
Beautiful thing.
Now, if we were able to smoke inside and it was your birthday, what would you use for a birthday cigar? Which is the point of this podcast.
Right. Said it before, I'll say it again. The Byron 19 is my absolute oasis cigar. Be all, end all. Wasn't able to get my hands on any today. Was able to smoke the Byron Reserva. Tres Años. Great stick. Does not measure up to the 19, but it was still delicious. Still a win. I just racking my brain all day. What I had on hand, trying to formulate the.
Well, what are you doing for your birthday after
playlist.
this show? What are you doing for a stick?
I don't know. I'm gonna get into the phone and see where everybody is, but I'm certainly gonna be bouncing around shop to shop. And
Some good sticks in Paul's humidor. You might want to.
all right.
You might want to take a gander in there.
My father's LeBijou 1922, personal favorite of mine. The Rose of Sharon, absolute favorite as well. And I was gifted a Padron 45.
Yep.
This morning from Joyles, which I have yet to smoke. I haven't tried that yet. And,
You haven't?
I haven't.
After this show, you owe it to yourself. That would be like if we were doing birthday cigars.
Yep.
Padron 45, amazing. I would go Opus X, amazing. The Byron, amazing stick.
Yep.
Those La Aurora, Tubo, Preferido,
Right.
those are amazing. You know what I mean?
If you afforded the time and the luxury, you happen today. I'm totally off of work.
Right.
I'm gonna get into it. Yeah, we're gonna get loose.
Yeah, we
plenty,
are.
Plenty
we
of
are.
sticks,
we have
plenty of
some
drinks.
guests coming up, and
Beautiful thing.
And after the show, we have some people coming for your birthday. It's gonna be a good time.
Nice.
And then I would also most likely go, Davidoff. See, I'm not big on like the birthday celebratory thing. If I get my hands on a good cigar, today's the day.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? But so for me to compile a list. But if I had to compile a list and say, today's my birthday, this is when I'm going.
Would that Don Carlos sneak in there? That Fuente?
I'm sorry, the Don Carlos.
Arturo Fuente. That creep in. Maybe is that morning.
Nah.
Morning off? No.
No, it's a great cigar. I don't want to take anything of it there. But birthday. Birthday. There's so many great sticks out there.
There really is. That was the point for me. I was really going through, cracking open, a couple of humidors and see what I had, and it's tough. It's really tough to narrow down. There's just not enough time. You can't whack down 12 sticks in a day. There's only so much smoking time. So
yep. Speaking of this, the Potagus Heritage. What do you think?
it's a win.
This reminds
Really
me.
tasty.
This stick reminds me of if we were at a plantation, hanging out, and having a day smoke and just chilling. Like and that's one of the things I like about some of the cigars. If you watch Stogie Geeks every week, some cigars I'm quiet and I just enjoy.
You get lost in it.
I get lost in it.
Yep.
I could really get lost in this cigar. Like it's so good and it pairs exceptionally well with this Thomas II single barrel. You like it?
Yes, I do.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, brother.
Yes. When we come back, Stogies of the Week. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Stogie Geeks. This is the Sticks of the Week. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa, and we are here. To my right is Joe D. Today's his birthday, so if you want to wish him a happy birthday, is your email set up yet, or you're not on that yet?
I don't think so.
If you want to wish Joe D a happy birthday, you go to Joe H at StogieGeeks.com, and I will forward it to his non-Stogie Geeks email because he's not used to this electronic extravaganza.
For a personal email, for
just so you know, the host of this show runs a security show, right? So you got to get your email up. It's already up. He's giving it to you.
It's a running joke. I'm trying to run it as long as I can.
Do you not like email? You got to hold on. I'm going to pull a poll here. You're all Scoombody.
Oh, geez.
Right? There you go. Look at that. Yeah.
Personal email CSKA76X at yahoo.com.
Yeah, right. Joe H at StogieGeeks.com. I'll forward it to CKA, whatever. And then there you go. This is the Sticks of the Week segment. Today is Joe D's birthday. If you're just tuning in, we did a rum pairing. So if some of the words like Criollo are slurred, I apologize in advance.
Oh, it's kicking in for sure.
We're doing some rum pairings. And then we talked a real little bit about birthday cigars and a whole lot of bit about some of the boxing and Conor McGregor extravaganza that's due up. Are you in for a little splash?
A little splash.
All right.
Thank you.
There you go. It's your birthday. We have just enough rum left to make some old fashions.
Ooh.
So
cool.
Maybe Paul can make those for the next episode. I think that's enough, right?
Yeah.
For the next episode, because that'd be good.
Chill for the next
anyway,
episode.
so happy birthday to Joe D.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
I can't wait to check the calendar to find out if Stogie Geeks is on my birthday. See, I would have if it was my birthday, I'm having a guitar, band, some streamers, you know what I mean? I'm decorating the place, but, anyway, happy birthday to you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
This is a Stick of the Week segment. What have you been smoking?
I'm going to lead off in the one hole with the La Aurora Puro Vintage 2006 Edición Limitada 111. That's a mouthful. Ecuadorian Havana wrapper, Brazilian binder, Nicaraguan binder. Nicaraguan, Brazilian, and Dominican filler. 6.5 by 60 Salomon. $19 price point. I reached out for one of these guys. I'm trying to touch all the Puro Vintage, and they're all pretty amazing. 18-count boxes. There was only 1,500 made. I absolutely gave it a box split. Chocolate, earth, and pepper. Natural tobacco and spice. Flavor bomb for days. And great complexity. The tobacco was from the 2006 crop and debuted at the 2015 Pro Cigar Charity Auction. It's a medium stick, and La Aurora was founded in 1903. It doesn't, for me, the Puro Vintage 2003 is still at the forefront. It's still in the one hole, but the 6 was pretty tasty as well. You can absolutely taste the age.
Mm-hmm. Where did you were you golfing, or were you sitting down? Or?
I was sitting
especially
down.
This time of year. You have to ask those questions.
Sitting down right next door. I was just taking that, as we said in numerous episodes before, taking that time in the humidor. That's part of the fun. Unless you really know what you want. If you have that time, peruse, find those hidden gems. I stumbled across it, and I had smoked one previous, really liked it, and scooped them up. Grabbed a couple more.
So you got to learn patience when shopping, right?
Well, when you have that time.
You're going to tell them the liquor store story about us choosing rum, right? What was it like? It was like 33 minutes to choose rum, and we only had a little rum section like this to choose from. And
the tiniest window.
We can do this, the tiniest window, and we blew it up for there.
Beautiful thing.
And it's the same thing. You don't have to go to a big elaborate smoke shop. I always tell my friends or consumers or the listeners is pay attention to what you like and the region that it's from, and then from there you'll be able to explore.
Also, a little side note, not all sticks are shelved accordingly. Sometimes, for various reasons I won't get into, you'll have those hidden gems boxed away on the bottom, the top shelf. Really peruse every nook and cranny of a humidor, and sometimes you come across those gems.
Either that, or one of the things I noticed as a consumer, and I want to take some time out now that I'm hosting this show here for this segment here is don't be afraid to ask. If you're new to cigars and you walk into a humidor, I see this every day that I walk into a cigar shop is people go either in and out right quick and get their go-tos, and I understand if you know what you like and you're that type of consumer, but then they linger. So in other words, they picked it out right quick and they linger. And then, as a fellow patron of a particular cigar shop, doesn't matter, right, you go there, you start a conversation with them. I'm like, have you ever tried the so-and-so? And they're like, no, I never tried that. And I usually judge it and tailor my discussion to what's in that cigar shop's humidor.
Right.
Showing them a little bit of love. And it's amazing how they walk in with the horse blinders.
The blinders, yeah.
And they don't be afraid. If you see something and you truly don't know, don't be afraid to ask. Say, hey, I liked this cigar, whatever the brand name was. And I noticed it came from this region. I mean, it's not hard. You read the label, right? It's on the label.
Right.
You can Google it on the internet. It's all there, right? And just say, I'm looking for something different, I still do that.
And it may have changed.
I still do that. I walk in.
there.
Nothing drives me nuts when I walk into a humidor and there's a new patron there, a cigar person who's handling. I'm like, hey, what's new? I don't know. Like, no, you're supposed to know.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to know what's new. Sell me a cigar. You know what I mean? Don't assume that I know what I want. But I want, I would have never, just from being on this show, we could probably do a segment. And this might be good for the production crew, right? To kind of make a side note for this, for our next note, is what cigars have Joe D and Joe H have had, and probably even Paul have had, that they would have never came across if it wasn't for a show like this.
Oh,
right.
The list is endless.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
still ongoing.
Like from my experience, okay, great. I came on the show, had experience in the retail cigar shop, had owned a retail cigar shop, been involved in the industry. Okay, great. But there are a list of sticks and a long list of sticks that I have not had. Just that I have had only from coming on this show.
I got to be honest. I want that listener feedback as well.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting segment for the crew who's doing an awesome job back there.
As always,
that'd be an interesting segment because I could literally, we set up like a Stogies of the Week and say, wow, this is my first impression when I've had it on the set, and it's much different. I will tell you, it's much different hosting a show and having a cigar than co-hosting with Paul and having a cigar. Right. It's one of those things where you're keeping the show going, which explains why we burn through 2 and sometimes or 3, and Paul burns through 2.
Absolutely, the cadence of the show, to be able to sit in the one hole and carry, it's a different animal. Yeah, I feel Paul's cheated show to show. It isn't, he's not afforded that extra time.
A luxury, because sometimes I just sit in it, especially if we have like 3-4 or there's 5 people in a room. You, me, Paul, and 2
round
guests.
Table. And if I just smoking something legit, we get caught up in the moment, caught up in the cigar.
Yeah, absolutely. I have had. Wouldn't be a show unless I talked about it, right? I've had the Viaje Exclusivo Robusto, right?
Check the box.
Viaje, check, right? I had this in the Robusto size. You are 5x52, okay? Binder filler, Nicaraguan, and wrapper is Nicaraguan Criollo.
Yes.
I got it. Criollo. Yeah. After
man.
rum, I'm getting better, right?
Good man.
Right? I had it in my head and I lost it, right? So the binder and filler is Nicaraguan. The wrapper is Nicaraguan Criollo. Let me tell you something. It starts off, it's got a little little pigtail on it. Mm-hmm. It starts off, you have it subtle, you get a little hint of pepper, right? You start smoking it, and then what I like about it is the hint of pepper stays consistent throughout the cigar. It doesn't tend to get really, really peppery or tend to go overboard. It just stays consistent.
Subtle pepper throughout?
Subtle pepper throughout.
Nice.
For what I got. And I liked it so much, I had it again.
There you go.
Right?
Yep.
And just to make sure there with the cigar. I mean, What can I say? I am a fan of the brand, so that's first and foremost. And I had to give it a box split for sure. Definitely give it a box split. What did you give your rating on the other one? I didn't
Box split as well.
Oh, you give it a box split?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, if we're checking boxes, Joe, my next stick, you know where I'm going.
Where are you going, Christoph?
Yeah, we are.
Here we go.
One of those situations, absolutely tripped over it in the humidor. Spent that little extra time. I thought I smoked every Christoph in the line. I came across the Christoph Classic Reserva.
Yep.
Absolutely blew my socks off.
Is that the red label? Is that
TAA 2015 release.
Yeah.
Man, are they good? And I apologize for everybody listening that may want to jump in next door. I bought them all.
Nice.
I had to be selfish, Joe. They were that good.
Do you have one for me? Let me tell you. I have a story about.
I don't have it on me, but I got one for you.
I have a story about that cigar. Jared, fan of the show, Jared from Christoph, and I remember when he was a rep, and I'm like, why don't they make these?
So good.
For everybody.
So good.
And he's like, you don't understand. It's a TAA. It's a limited release. But he's giving me all the talk about. I'm like, this is an amazing smoke. And by the way, it was about 2 years ago. I remember where I was. And I remember, actually, it was my birthday. We did, one of my birthday was at a local cigar shop. They actually surprised me, did a surprise birthday.
Beautiful.
And whatnot. And it was at a local cigar shop. And it was great. And I had them. And Jared had gifted me that.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? And so 2015, that would be it's my 40th. Yeah, the Matt's right.
To use your line,
right?
Stopped in my tracks.
The first thing I said, now here's what happened. I walked in, everybody, hey, surprise, happy birthday, oh, you guys are great, blah, blah, It's great to see my friends, and I'm very close to my friends, awesome, right? And then Jared hands me that stick. So, of course, you hand me a stick. I don't care if there's one on the planet. Right. I'm laying it now, right? That's just my demeanor, right? And so I lit it. And the first thing I said, as opposed to thank you, Jared, was why don't they produce these on a regular level?
Exactly.
This is amazing smoke. Yeah. So obviously you gave it a.
I give it a fight, Chuck Norris.
Really? Really?
All day. I initially, I think I
figured you were going Oasis. I like that you're starting to pull that back.
Trying to pull it back, Joe.
Nice.
Trying to pull it back.
I like it. You're taking the play out of my book.
Yeah.
Right? You can't give people too much love. You know
if the Byron 19 is the Oasis for me. As much as I absolutely love this stick, and it's right there, it pulled back just a tiny bit and slotted accordingly. That's where it's at. Which is no slant on the cigar itself. Phenomenal. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan Habano binder, Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Honduran filler as well. 5x52 Robusto, $8 price point. Comes in a 20-count box. There was 16 left. I took them all. I apologize for being selfish, but they were that good.
If you want to trade, I have a Viaje Farmer Bill hatchet, which you've never had.
Done.
Making deals, right? Then you could. I love the Farmer Bill hatchet. And by the way, I've taken some plate out of Paul's book. They've been aging for about 6 months.
Oh man, there you go. Yes.
Well, they had to be aged for 6 months. They only come out since October. So anyway, yeah.
Some great flavors. Barnyard leather that we were talking about earlier, and some nuttiness. Totally smooth. Only 1,000 boxes made in each size. Medium full stick. Made by Abe Flores down at PDR in Dominican. Mm-hmm. So good.
Yeah, I guess with the TAA label on that, Jared told me the story, and I was like, yeah. Just you should put it in they should do something with this stick. It's especially the price point. Like you think, okay, exclusive to the TAA retailers, right? And only certain retailers could have it, right? And I actually took a pilgrimage to a shop up in New York, upstate New York, that had them on there, and I had bought some after I had my birthday stick and all that stuff, and I had bought some. But it's like, it's an $8 price point, and it's a phenomenal stick. Like, why wouldn't you put out something? Now I understand you got to put out something exclusive for certain things. But
$25 all day for the cigar. Absolutely. And
don't give him any ideas, Joe. Don't give.
It's already a done deal.
No.
They're MIA.
Keep it at $8. Make some money. produce a good stick.
I'm willing to square off with Chuck Norris. There's no defense. He's gonna. Yeah.
All right.
Phenomenal. What else you got over there?
Well, I'm still enjoying this Ponigus Heritage because you're on to the Hechicera. What did you think about that? Joe's smoking the Hechicera Robusto, and since I'm doing the hosting, I'm doing most of the talking, so I'm still on the Ponigus Heritage. But what did you think about that? Did you have it with the rum yet?
No, I'm just enjoying this thing straight up. I wanted to see where it was at without any alcohol at first. Really, just by feel, it's almost like a billy club or a nightstick. This thing is rock solid, but
Packed. Yeah.
packed.
Yeah.
Perfect draw, great flavor. It's a pretty good stick right now. I never heard of this.
Yeah, I got that in the bottom left-hand corner of Paul's Humidor. So if you're looking for some more, there are some there.
Okay.
Which means that if it's on the bottom, it's probably
Is Paul still in the house? Because if not,
I don't know, because
I've
I've given Paul a couple of sticks. I've noticed they've made it to the middle, and I'm like, huh. If they made it to the middle and it's the bottom, and I gave it to him about a month ago, he didn't get to it yet. We're gonna have to meet and do some stuff with that.
Awesome.
But yeah, the Hechicera, like I said, it's one of those sticks. When they first came out, typical story. When they first came out, I was like, yeah, it's all right. But now they're
I have not seen this stick in any shop I've been to in Rhode Island.
really.
And I
There was
I
one-
pretty much go to most of them.
Yeah, there was one that had all of them.
Okay.
When they first came out, locally in Rhode Island, it was Hermanos when it was under the previous
Gotcha.
ownership.
Yep.
They had all the Hechiceras. They were there, and it was good. That I know of.
Pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm sure now shops don't have that because again, it's one of those sticks. They probably put it on closeout and it blew out and did its thing.
Despite that really dark profile, it's kind of like a solid medium right now. It's nice. I'm early on, may kick up a notch, but it's pleasant right now.
Yeah, I'm going back to Paul's Humidor and digging out one more of these for sure. This Ponigus Heritage is
Don't tell them.
It's amazing. Yeah, right. Don't tell them.
Nobody at home. Don't text them.
Avo, Synchro, Ritmo, Toro.
Tried it.
6x54.
I've been trying to seek this out. Nobody seems to have it. That turquoise wrapper.
You got to roll out with me.
I want to hear what you get for an assessment on this.
You got to roll out with me.
All right.
This is, it's funny because
We're trying to hunt this thing down.
It's funny because when you talk to the shop, this is the third release of the Avo Synchro series.
Yes.
Which the Avo Synchro series went against the grain. My words, went against the grain with the blends of what Avo has been known for. And this is also
This was not blended by Avo. I don't want to steal your thunder if that's what you're going to touch.
No,
on.
this is the first stick that is put out post his passing over there with that. However, in regards to the stick, it's available in 4 different sizes. You have a Robusto, you have a Toro, you have a Special Toro. It's called the Special Toro, which is 6x60.
Okay.
I had the regular Toro, which was, I just said it, but 5x50. And then you have the Torpedo Largo, which is 7x54.
Okay.
Okay. You have a Ecuadorian wrapper leaf, and it also contains Mexican binder and filler tobaccos from Nicaragua, Peru, Brazil, Honduras, and the Dominican Republic.
Touching them all.
Okay.
Yep.
So its cigar it's box pressed, it's jammed, packed with not only flavor, but this was the first cigar that I have lit in a long time where I was afraid to retrohale.
Really?
When I lit it up.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
I was like, whoa. I lit it up and I was like, okay. This is...
Is this thing on?
Is and then you have your South American wrapper that's encompassing in this there too. So you have a lot going on in that cigar there. Let me just repeat those for you. So you have your Ecuadorian leaf, South American wrapper, which has a Mexican binder and filler tobaccos. And the filler tobaccos are from Nicaragua, Peru, Brazil, Honduras, and the Dominican Republic.
Yikes.
Box pressed for a new release cigar. It comes right out of the gate swinging, which only tells me that if it's got that much going on in there,
right,
these are really going to be, should be, in theory, cigar theory, right? Our cigar theory, they should be phenomenal with age because they don't have age on them.
True.
Right? They're here. You can get them locally. You can get them over in any of the 2 Regencies if you ever wanted to try one. I had the Robusto size and I had the Toro size. Probably not going to go to that Super Toro at 60. I'm not 60 box pressed. See, I shy away from box press, even though I shouldn't. I don't like the way it feels in my hand. I've expressed that with different shows.
Yeah, I like to twirl it around a little bit.
But let me tell you something. This cigar out of the gate. So when I was about halfway through, all right, because when you first light it, you're like, okay, whoa, like what? Like what's going on?
Where are my pants?
It's like being a little kid and walking into like a carnival. You're like, I want to go there. I want to go there. What's going on? What's going on? Right? You're like, oh my god, this is like
system overload.
It's total system overload. Right? Great analogy. And you're there, and then you have it, and then about halfway through, I was like, okay, I got to get the retro. Right? I got to get the retro, and I got it, and I was like, wow, like it's amazing, amazing cigar. I gave it a box worthy.
Okay.
There. Because the reason why I gave it a box worthy is because I'm convinced if it impressed me that much,
over time, it's
6 months from now,
gotcha,
it should come into whatever. Now, I don't know much about the settling process of if you have that much of a complex cigar.
That's a lot going on right there.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But theory and logic from just following along from this show would tell you that it should get into that maybe Chuck Norris, maybe Oasis level.
Oh, man.
Which is why I'm giving it.
Ramp it up my curiosity.
It's amazing. Like
Joe, I got a question for you.
Yes.
All right. So,
yes, I was afraid for the retro hail. that is complete. That was my first thought of the cigar. I'm afraid to retro hail this thing.
One of my absolute best buddies, cigar mentor to me. The guy is an Avo freak. Mm-hmm. He's the be-all, end-all for the Avo. So I was curious where he was with this. Absolutely loved it. Pretty much on par with everything they're saying. The back third of the cigar for him came across a little strong, a little harsh. Mm-hmm. But that was his assessment. He smoked a couple. He's everything Avo. However, but getting back to what you're saying, with that time, age, tame it down just a little bit. I can now getting the other side, the other half of the story, another take. I can see where that would absolutely be a perfect marriage with it. Tame it right down into a perfect scenario. You were able to get any of that?
No. If your friend was sitting here, I would, or when you see a friend, ask him, did he guillotine cut it or did he V cut it? Because I V cut.
Okay.
If I have a choice, it's V. No, if I have a choice, it's bullet. Right? Like straight up bullet, usually anything. Some things don't allow the bullet, some things don't there. My second go-to is a V-cut.
Okay.
Or a cat eye, however you want to call it.
I think he went guillotine or bullet. It definitely wasn't a V-cut.
If he went bullet, logic would tell you because it's box pressed, you have a lot of tar buildup towards the end.
Okay.
He could have been getting that. If you went guillotine and kept lighting it, which, if you're like me and you talk a lot, whether you're on Stogie Geeks or not, you're always lighting your cigar, right? Because remember, a couple shows back, we talked about some of the long ash contests where you're not supposed to keep lighting it, etc. Yeah, it depended on that. And I would ask your friend to if he did it, do it with the V cut and try to baby it a little bit so you lighten it less. Because I found it right to the nub. Absolutely positively enjoyed it. Wasn't harsh. I mean, when you first started, again, I was hesitant to retro hail this thing, right? So I was like, whoa, it's got a lot going on. It's complex.
Right.
So I can see if they guillotined it, or kept lighting it as well, how it could turn out.
I'm really excited and happy you had this as one of your sticks today because he's got the direct line to Avo's son, who's going to be a guest on the show.
Oh, is he?
In a matter of weeks. Yeah, so
You're more privy to that stuff.
no, but I definitely want to try it before he comes on the show. I'm partial to the Domain and the Fagata. Those are my two go-tos for Avo. But
so Avo's son's
yeah.
scheduled to come on the show.
Matter of weeks. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. See, I like to treat every Stogie Geeks episode like a surprise to me. So I choose to know what it is on that day.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's not a lot of real show prep other than 6 of the week for me personally. I like to just express my feelings out to listeners, and you take whatever knowledge I'm giving you at hand. You handle that more with the crew and all of that stuff. For me, it's like a surprise. Who's coming in today? Let's talk. It'd be great. So he's scheduled to come in.
Yeah, I don't know if Paul has spoken to him specifically. I know Paul's interviewed Avo in the past, I believe, and that Armenian descent maybe could make for a good segment. So finalize the details, but it's going to be a great episode.
I think it's going to be a great episode, and it'd be great to talk about the future of the company.
There you go.
What I mean,
absolutely.
Especially
better questions. I want your take. I want your business.
Well, the business take.
acumen.
The business take is it's a great question. You have to take care, regardless of what cigar you produce out in the market. I truly feel that you need to stand behind your blend,
right.
and you need to stand behind your brand.
That bread and butter, getting back to what you were saying before.
And you need to support that. And this Avo Cinco series, I'd love to be a fly on the boardroom when cigar companies say, okay, we have done this with success. Avo, they have a rich tradition and heritage.
Yep.
They've been an amazing, both for the retailer,
right,
for the consumer. They've produced cigars that people consume and love. People consume for special occasions. So it's up there. But now, with the passing of Avo Senior, you need to protect the brand. But I also think that the brand also, it's good for them to go through an exploration phase as well.
That's where I'm at, Joe. I'm wondering if they're going to close ranks on what is typically been a major producer for them, or take that new avenue. And I think this Ritmo is right where they need to be if they're looking to.
Well, it's a third release of the Synchro series,
right.
And to my knowledge, and I'm only going on cigar retailers who give me their feedback from the cigar shops that I frequent. It's been a success. You know what I mean? So even though they've stepped out of their Avo box and they've produced a series, you can't go through a day or a week if you frequent shops without them bringing up an Avo, a Avo Synchro something or other. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now with 3 releases, and now with this one, this is a big one. Like, this is a big release.
It's a big deal.
And
sure.
you got a lot. It's a complex cigar, and you got a lot going on.
I'm wondering why it's not in more shops right now. For the flavor bang and the hype behind it, I'm wondering why it's somewhat limited in this state. I'm not sure, across the board, but pretty curious. There are a lot of questions.
You bring up a good point. Why it's not in a lot of shops. When you're dealing with an older brand, such as an Avo or a Podagus or a Padron, you have what you call access points for the retailer. And if you can't meet the access point, or you're not in the geographical area of someone who has a proven track record with Avo, you got to look at the environment that we're in. Here in Rhode Island, we have 34, maybe 37. I don't know. It's like the stock market. It changes every day. It's like the stock market here, where you talk about cigar shops and cigar lounges, where Joe D and myself and Paul we're native Rhode Island. We're in a Rhode Island-based culture, and you can drive through Rhode Island within 45 minutes, no traffic. And, you know, if one retailer is, say, located here, and then 5 miles is another retailer, but in between is the other retailers, and we just happen to like the in-between shops.
Collectively, we cover a lot of ground with just three guys. And
you don't know. I mean, it could be an access point.
Yeah.
It could be an access point as far as entry level, what you need. You know, some blends and brands are out there still protecting the retailer in regards to the geographical coverage, and then others are just selling cigars to anybody,
right,
and anybody who wants to purchase them online. And you know, and it's I'm sure that business decision is tough enough,
right,
because you got to look at it from the retailer perspective. If 45 people shop here and then 5 miles away they open up another shop, but only 20 shop, those 45 might flock. But at the end of the day, Avo, in this example, still sells the 45 boxes.
Right.
They might make an executive decision to not sell it to specific.
Yeah, one of those classic facings. He doesn't have
retailers.
to reach out to every
You
single
don't
shop.
have to. You're in a different ball game,
Right.
as opposed to if you're an up-and-coming cigar person from a business perspective.
Yeah, you want to beat down as many doors.
You got to beat down as many doors because it's a numbers game. You know, I think it's a race to 50. Right. This is my number. This is not coming from any other podcast. This is not coming from any other. I think it's a race to 50 facings when it comes to the shop. So in other words, if you release a cigar and you're in 50 shops, you got something going on. Because if you're in one shop or two shops and then there's a huge gap state-wise,
right,
what are you really getting into? I think 50 is a great number. And believe me, I mean, this would be a great conversation. I would love to have a Stogie Geeks episode of like a classic facing, say like Avo's son and like a Mike Bellady,
right,
and like maybe like a Pete John, like do a multiple segment, because they all produce sticks that we talk about and consume.
Right. And
Stogie Geeks like us, or Stogie Geeks like our listeners would love to consume. But from a business perspective, you know, some businesses get the luxury of picking and choosing where they're going to put their shop, where they're going to put their sticks, and others don't get the luxury because they might be on that race to 50 of brand recognition. You know what I mean? So you know, it depends on where you're frequenting. You know what I mean? You know, that's why I always say when I travel to a cigar shop, I judge it by what I want to smoke.
right.
You know what I mean? If I feel like this X brand, then I'm going to go here or here because I know that they carry more of that option of what I'm going to have. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's just my perspective with that. But the Avo, getting back to the Avo Synchro series, it's an amazing series. I think it's a great example of when you can step out of your traditional business plan and still cater to a new market. Now, it's funny because when I had this stick, I spoke to a couple of the old-timers who frequent that shop. And like, the stick's too complex. It's not Avo. You know, it's got Nicaraguan. It's you know, and they get all hung up on
having not
the
smoked
complexity.
it.
They
cast it aside.
just they like Avo in its traditional sense,
Which is fine.
but business logic would tell Avo and company that, hey, we have this whole other target audience here.
Absolutely.
We can cater to them
Oh, yeah.
too. Which I think when you're at that type of decision making in any industry, it doesn't have to be cigars. You really can pick and choose. You know, it's
Yep.
amazing. You know,
Beautiful thing. Moving on, let's get to the. I smoked the Padron 90th Maduro in the Tubo, the 1926. This stick has eluded me, but I reached out and had one recently at one of our favorite shops. 5.5 by 52. It's the Nicaraguan Maduro.
I'm sorry. What was it? Padron what?
Padron 90th.
Okay. Yep.
90th Maduro in the Tubo. It was like a red Tubo. Nicaraguan binder and filler. $27 price point, box of 10. The natural is available as well. able to pull some Earth and Chocolate. All the box press, with the exception of the 90th, came with no cedar in the tubo, just the cellophane. Released at the 2016 IPCPR. All tobacco is aged 5 years. Full stick. And this was also worth noting, this is the first tubo offered by Padron. All that said, this was a try one for me.
At a $27
$27 price point. Now let's get into the other half.
Oh!
I'm swinging a big blade today. Combustion issues, had to relight it 4+ times. The stick became harsh and bitter. And I'm thinking back now, part of that probably has to do with the combustion issues I was experiencing. This was the first stick I've tried of the 90th, but it had all the hype was set, comfortable chair, beautiful shop. I wasn't drinking at the time. You spend $27 on a cigar. You don't want to. You want to ruin it with certain alcohol, straight up water, and not a fan for me. Now, conversely, the 64 is pretty much one of the greatest things on earth, and I'd migrate to all day, twice on Sunday. But for me, this particular stick didn't resonate well.
Where'd you get it?
I don't want to say.
No, because the reason why I'm not here to put the place on blast.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is because I'm going to ask us to go down a $30 journey. Right? Because I mean, when you have a company like,
I have never had an issue with combustion or a stick being plugged or any issues whatsoever with this one particular shop. I know there's a great amount of TLC that goes involved. So that was not the issue. I probably would have migrated to the natural, as I have with most Padrones in the past. I've never had a single issue with any other Padrones in the past.
right?
This time with Maduro, with the 90th, in the tubo, I don't know. Combustion should maybe get a factor in the box press. Maybe the lack of cedar. It was just in the cellophane. I don't know, but it's worth trying again. $27, but I will try it, and let's report back within 6 months and see where I'm at. That's where I'm at today.
Right.
I really find even. I've never given a try one for any stick, even.
Sure.
It's
difficult. This is difficult.
It's difficult, John.
I can sense.
You can see the anxiety. I'm moving in the chair. I'm squirming. That's where I'm at.
Well,
so
let me tell you something. I mean, you got a couple of things that could go on over there, depending on the shipping process and the tube. I mean, this is not the time of year where something could combust on you.
These cigars do not sit on the shelf. It's a quick turnover.
Sure.
So absolutely.
Well, this is what I think you should do to do the brand justice. It's not like you've tried something. My God, it's like when you sit in the host chair, you kind of act like a host, right? It's amazing, right? What I'm trying to say is they've gone through such a rich tradition in history. I would ask the cigar shop owner, who you want to remain anonymous, if they've gone through any of those issues. Because if they did, to do the brand justice, it would be a bad batch. Because that's one of those.
Good call. I'll be there tonight.
Because that's one of those cigars that people would use for a special occasion.
Absolutely.
Or, Father's Day just passed, but, if something comes up and there's a special occasion, they might purchase that in a tubo. It's got a $27 price tag to it. It's not one of those cigars that should ever do that. If you told me you smoked that, I would have never guessed that your review would even have went that way.
I wouldn't either.
You know what I mean? I would ask the cigar shop owner there. This way that's free, right? And then I would ask when they're getting more. And when you want to go through that process again,
right?
I'll join you because I've never had that one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So from my perspective, and if they both blow up, then hey, we're on to something. You know,
Right.
Maybe we'll offset it. We'll go buy a scratch ticket, right, and then go buy a cigar. This way, if we at least win, it'll cut the cost of the scratch. That's the Italian in me going on,
play.
man. Right?
Nice.
We'll make a day out of it. Some
Nice.
rainy day this summer, we'll go back there and then we do that. You
It's
just
a
let
deal.
me know.
Yep.
Time wise, because I think when you review a cigar like that, you gotta kind of it carries on history, and I would never think that they would produce something that would be rushed.
I'm not going to try it anywhere else. I want to try it back at this shop.
Yeah.
Repeat the same
I
same
would.
situation.
Yeah.
And see where we're at.
Yep. Because I mean, again, they're handmade. They're shipped by UPS or FedEx. I have friends that work for UPS and FedEx, so right?
Right.
So you could have got a bad batch. You could have got a bad one. It's one of those brands that I think as a Stogie Geeks representative, which you and myself are, that we should probably revisit.
I believe
that
they
soon.
number each and every stick, and I do have it. If the parties would be interested, but yeah, we're going to go through, repeat the process, and see what we come across.
Speaking of mediocre, right? Right?
We go, Joey.
I had the, hold on, let me get the exact thing. I have had the, see, I was going to do something different, but I'm tailoring it.
There you go. Nice.
I had
On the fly.
the La Cia Tobacco Black Toro. This is a 6x50. I had this cigar. It comes in 4 different sizes. Comes in the little guy, the double Toro, the Toro, and the Robusto. There. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano. Binder is Nicaraguan. And your filler is Dominican Lajero with Nicaraguan. And then you also have some Brazilian Maltafina in there and American Dock Fire,
Okay.
which now I'm like, okay, if anybody knows what American Dock Fire is, Joe H at StogieGeeks.com. And I'd love to get educated on that because it's one of those sticks I came across and I tried and I was like, wow, this got pretty decent ratings.
Yep.
And I've never had it before. And when I had it, I was like, it was all right. I gave it a try one. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things like when I look at a stick and I'm like, oh, wow, it's got something that I've never even heard of in it.
Yep.
And it's got Nicaraguan. It might be a go-to for me
Yep.
and for my palate. But had some pepper taste, had there. And then 1/3 into it, it just mild, flat. Really nothing.
Tape it right out.
It tapered right out. And I don't know what that process is, but definitely want to do a little bit more exploring as to what American Dock Fire filler is.
I've never heard that.
It's that's where I'm at. So, like
Okay.
I said, I gave it a try one. If it's there, the price point, you're in that $6 or $7.
Yep.
If you go online, it's even cheaper. See, that's one of the things I judge too. I'm not a fan of cigar companies that sell a ton cheaper. My word, a ton cheaper. I'm sticking with that one. Right? I've had rum. I'm good. Right? A ton cheaper than when they would in the retail store.
Okay.
So if you go in a retail store, you're at that 7, maybe 8. If you go online, you're in that 5. Dare I say, you can find them for 4.
Yeah, pose that question. Why we?
And it's just
right.
like, I don't know. I think that the retailer, it's not the responsibility of the retailer to do the monitoring. It's the cigar company. But, I'm kind of like, to me, as a small business owner, it just raises a flag
Yep.
with that. And there are a ton. And that'd be another Stogie Geek segment for
Episode
the,
for
for the
another day,
crew,
sure.
if you want to write it down, for some of those things, in regards to future episodes. Like, I think that it should be all price protected in regards to online versus,
Agreed.
because there is a battle there, but the people with the sword and shield representing the brands are the retailers.
Right.
So it drives me nuts when a retailer is not protected via online stuff. Now, it wasn't a blowout. It's just these are available that low of a price point on a regular basis.
Right.
And it just kind of turns me off. But it was gifted to me. It was gifted to me by my friend over on the golf course. I was like, oh, wow, cool. I've always wanted to try one of these, I never tried one in a retail shop because I knew they were online.
Yeah, exactly.
At that price point.
Yep.
So I kind of I didn't go out of my way to get it. But, again, I was like, let me try it. And I gave it a try one. If it's out there, go for it. I wouldn't seek it out. My opinion.
Beautiful. I'm going to go back-to-back on here, if you don't mind. I'm not sure.
Negative or?
No, back-to-back reviews.
All right.
I don't know if we're up against it time-wise. But,
No, we're good. We're good.
Last week, the Paul Gamarian that Paul asked.
Oh, yeah.
Reserva Exclusiva Gourmet Series, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Dominican binder, Ecuadorian and Dominican filler. $10 price point, 5 sizes. I smoked the 5.5 by 46 Corona Extra. Absolutely love this stick. Wasn't able to talk about it too much on the show where we're busy, we're wrapped up, but I'm giving it a box split all day. Nuttiness, natural tobacco, and a little bit of sweetness, and 10 years of age on all the tobacco, medium full, and limited production that was rolled in 2001. That's absolutely a stick I'm gonna seek out for sure, and I haven't seen too many of them, but that's one that's on the list. I want to see what else they have to offer.
Well, a couple things. Good luck seeking out that stick.
Yeah, right.
Locally.
Yep.
Paul had elaborated on that on the last couple of episodes with that. My take on that stick, again, that's a classic example of a stick that I would never have before my experience here on the Stogie Geeks.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And it's one of those sticks where, like the Potagus Heteridge, in my opinion, it stops you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It did.
But it doesn't stop you like whoa. It stops you like a mini whoa, right? I guess I could say that,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Like wow, they got something going on here. It's a good stick.
Yep.
It's a really good stick. Like I said, it's one of those sticks that I would not have had the opportunity to try because retail wise they're not around here. You have to seek them out and you have to be in the know from there, I guess. I don't know what they've done marketing wise or if they want to continue or what their story is. But it's one of those sticks that, you gave it a 5er?
Box split.
Oh, box split. Yeah. I'd give it a box split
Yeah.
for sure. And the ones you've had from Paul have been aging for a while.
True. Yeah.
As well there. But there were some retailers that were here in our section that they don't do them anymore.
Right.
They don't have them. And I don't know if they're not around, sales rep's not around. I don't know what the story is, but yeah, I would definitely give it a box split for sure.
Cool.
Good stick.
My last one, one particular shop I was in, the shop owner absolutely loved these. Really built the cigar up with all sorts of hype. Couldn't wait to get into it. And sometimes when that happens, there's a little bit of a letdown. Yeah, that was the case here. The Oscar Habano with the green wrap.
Yeah.
Have not had it. This is the first time. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Honduran binder, Nicaraguan and Honduran long filler. $12 price point, 3 sizes. There's 11 in a box.
That's box pressed? Is that the one? No. It's got the Candela wrap. I'm sorry.
Candela wrapper,
They,
yeah.
they have the Oscars that I think it's 2012.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Those are box pressed. They have the green Candela wrapper in there. Yep. Okay.
Smoked the 5x50 Robusto. I absolutely gave it a try one. Natural tobacco, barnyard, and it was salty as all hell. I found it had a tight drawer with some, really dryness in there. Previously, Nicaraguan tobacco was not used as a filler at the Oscar Valadares Tobacco and Company. This is the first time they used that, wrapped in Candela tobacco leaf. Not a fan. I'm partial to the Oscar Sumatra. I don't know if that played into it. I was really excited to try it and all the hype behind it. And
Oscar Sumatra, the original one that had the original leaf.
Leaf by Oscar, yeah. With this, this Habano.
Because the Leaf by Oscar, when they first came
Oscar.
out, they had the Sumatra, the Corojo, the Maduro, and the Natural.
Correct.
Right, and then so you're more of a fan of that.
More of the Leaf by Oscar. This is just the
Oscar.
Oscar, right?
Yep. It's the Oscar. It's what type of wrap is on that?
It was Ecuadorian Havana wrapper.
Yeah, it's got the Ecuadorian Havana wrapper, but in lieu of cellophane, they wrap it with the Candela.
Correct.
And you said, what was the word you used? It wasn't was it salty?
Salty.
Yeah, it was salty.
Yeah, that was.
I don't think that has anything to do with the Candela wrapper, but I did notice that when the Leaf by Oscar came out first with those 4 blends,
really, really dry. And
hit it out of the park. They totally did a wonderful job with that there. And then now they have a 2012 series. It's got different color wrappers. Off the top of my head, it's got a yellow one and a red one and another color.
Okay.
They're box pressed, and then they also came out with that one as well.
Yep.
The regular Oscar, and I just think that the original series was slightly better.
I agree.
For sure. You know, and you gave it a try one?
Give it a try one.
Yeah, you gave it a try one. So
Which I hate doing. It really pained me to do that. Fortunately, unfortunately, this is the first episode I've done so far that I've given a try one. I've given 2 try ones now in this one episode.
See, we're on the opposite side of the spectrum because I've given 1 Oasis in 6 months.
Right.
and you've had a couple of try ones. Speaking of try ones, why don't you try some rum? Finish out this segment here.
I'm going to try the facilities in about 2 seconds when we wrap up. That's what I'm
Is that why you wanted to do double?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. I never took up
I
on
think I
that.
could possibly skip out and leave just the 1 seat here.
Is that what you want to do, or you want me to give one more, or can you hold it? I'll talk quick, right? That's what happens when you do a bunch of rum samplings. Well, it would
Is there a man diaper on the other side of the
It
wall?
would not be a show unless I talked about Tatuaje, right? Right. So I had. I'll be quick in this one. I had the Tatuaje Reserva Robusto, 5.5 by 50. Binder filler is Nicaraguan. The wrapper is Nicaraguan sun-grown broadleaf. What can I say? I mean, you got a dock, broadleaf, pepper, Nicaraguan tobacco. Goes great. I think it would go excellent with rum.
There you go. Nice. Tie it all together.
I think it would go good with some of this Thomas 2 rum that we did here. And with that being said, thank you for listening to Stogie Geeks. We'll see you next week.
Great job, guys. Awesome.